Welcome back to the Let's Talk Sports show here on Callan 105 FM. Well, I said before the break that the transfer window closes on like August the 4th and 5th. I was corrected because it closes on the 9th, the day before the Manchester United versus Burnley, is it? I can't remember who they played, but they played Leicester game on the Friday night to kick things off in the Premier League. But between now and then, we're going to have some jam-packed action in the transfer window because the World Cup's gone and over. Pre-season is fully underway. Some players haven't turned up for pre-season because obviously the World Cup. But we've got plenty of transfers to really talk about and to really dive into. Just to begin with, guys, obviously you all have your own personal clubs and whatnot. But let's just go around and just get some thoughts to what we think has been the best transfer really for your own personal clubs, really. So, Jamie, if you want to say Shrewsbury rather than TNS.
I'll do both
if you want, but,
Why not?
I don't want to put you any under pressure if you want to do Shrewsbury because,
We've got the England C team striker, like the top scorer for the England C team last season, Fajiri Okenberry, which I've probably completely destroyed the name of, but yeah, he's a solid-looking striker from Dagenham last season. He scored in, I think, every pre-season game so far, bar one, which he was essentially scoring, and then Charlie Taylor for Burnley decided to stick it in his own net.
Oh.
But yeah, also Kane Lewis at TNS, I was talking to you Joe about before, the ex-Wonder Kids prospect from Liverpool, who played against the Shikinja game and was just solid down the right wing. Blistering pace, and yeah, I think another easy season for TNS.
Fair enough. Andrew?
For Wrexham, Luke Young, I think, from Torquay is one that's got my eye. I can see your blank expression of who is this guy.
Like I said off the if it's championship below, straight over my head.
You're like a poor man's Gabe Marcotti. His championship doesn't count for him either.
I find that offensive. So
as a Nottingham Forest fan, you would on that. Yeah, Luke Young from Torquay. A creative force in midfield, which is for Wrexham last season. We were ridiculously solid at the back. We were ridiculously solid with two sitting midfielders. But I can't remember a time last season where I saw a midfielder get past the striker. There was no real link there. It didn't seem to be working. So I'm hoping that Young can bring something to that.
Hopefully, he can bring some attacking flair.
Yeah, and he's known for he loves a shot from goal from outside the box. Scored a screamer against Wrexham, actually, a volley 2 seasons ago for Torquay. So him and Mike Fondop up front. I've got a good feeling about him. He scored I'm pretty sure every game apart from one in pre-season. Relatively unknown. Been studying at university for the last few years, so I think this is his first ever pre-season.
Here at Glendale?
No, somewhere down south. I can't remember where. Oh. Yeah. So hopefully, everybody was expecting a big name number 9 signing. He is our new number 9. So I'll be backing him to the hill. Hopefully.
Sounds like it could be exciting times for Wrexham.
Yeah, I don't know. I've learned
not to get too excited.
Yeah,
pretty much like me as a Forest fan.
Yeah.
Also, Luke Summerfield as well.
Player, so. Yeah, ex-Shrewsbury, ex-Grimsby, ex-Plymouth Argyle. A bit more of an older head.
Sounds like it's everyone's ex.
He's what he gets around.
He's a good solid League 2 player.
I've heard he's very solid. 30 experienced head of midfield.
Good with set pieces as well. He's
nice.
Good
he's there on my little list, actually, people to talk about.
People to talk about.
It was, yeah. No,
look
Kardashian. Yeah. No, Kim Karlström. That was Kim Karlström.
the failed Swedish Arsenal player.
Failed? No, never failed.
He won an FA Cup.
Really well
he won an FA Cup and didn't do anything.
FA Cup, big man. Joe. I'm not gonna give you Cater because that was last summer. He was just delayed. His flight was delayed or something.
Well.
But what do you want to? What are your feelings on Liverpool so far in the window? Obviously, probably the most active really of all the top 6 teams, and really pushing on to a challenge to potentially challenge City for the title this season.
It's not been a bad window so far, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. That's the thing though. If it all fails this season, people are just gonna if we don't compete this season, people are going to be like, well, you spent all that money, what's happened?
Well, that's only if Liverpool fans are fickle, and surely Liverpool fans are fickle, are they? No, never.
No. I'm fine with, I'm happy we've spent the money this summer. Some of the money we've had left over from Coutinho last January, the 146 million, so that's fine. We've filled in the defensive mid position because we needed a solid one, because Henderson has been playing 6 and he's done quite well as a 6, but that's not his natural position. So we've got Fabinho and he's
on the bench. Is that his natural position? Yeah, sub. Yeah. That's not a no. You're falling out of love with him.
Don't look at me. Defend yourself. Come on.
Decline to comment. I'll give him a chance. Give Endo a chance.
To be honest, though, I think Fabinho is no Joe Allen.
No.
He won't ever match the Welsh savvy.
Does actually sound like Brendan Rodgers. I think Shaqiri's an interesting one. He'll probably be more of a squad player, but I think he could, if he gets his attitude right and works hard, could push for a position.
Sounds like every manager ever who's managed him says that.
And obviously, I'm really over the moon with Alisson, because obviously we needed a goalkeeper. Some people might say we've arguably overpaid, but it's demand and need, isn't it? Basically, there's not that many goalkeepers available. We needed a goalkeeper. Roman knew we needed one, and I think they were trying to make up a little bit of cash from Mo Salah last summer, so we've just paid them what we needed. World record fee. That position's sorted, hopefully boxed off for the next 10 years.
I think it was supply and demand as well. Alisson being one of the best goalkeepers of the past year since his move to Roma. And then, Real Madrid, this whole issue as to whether or not they're going to replace Keylor Navas, Courtois in the picture, Alisson as well. Liverpool needs to just to jump on it, really, and to get the deal done. And I'm glad that they've finally, after summers of, sometimes leaving it a little bit too long to get the deals done. I mean, for example, a lot of people criticised the Oxlade-Chamberlain deal last summer for how late that was done and how much they paid for it. But, obviously that's turned out okay, but you don't want that kind of mentality at the football club, do you? You want to try and get the pre-season with the players so that they can get that team chemistry strong, so when the games do matter in the Premier League, they can kick things off straight away. And I think Liverpool are in a good picture to really get themselves a good, strong start to the Premier League next season because of that. But Joe, other teams have, of course, been making transfers. What else have you seen out there that you've liked in particular? That's cast your mind as to think, yes, that's a good transfer for that team, and he's going to do well for them.
I'll tell you what, Spurs have signed a good player the other day called No One.
Yeah.
Low blow.
Low blow.
It's a bit of banter.
Tell you what, why don't you throw Burnley in there as well, because they haven't signed anyone either.
I had to laugh because it did literally just say on Sky Sports the other day, players in, and then none, and it looked like they'd signed a player called None. It was quite... That's the whole joke.
They've got a new stadium. It doesn't look like a toilet seat.
Oh, awful. Yeah, I saw those pictures today on Twitter.
Chelsea have signed a good player in Jorginho, a good prospect for the defensive mid. He should be all right in the sense. So if they lose Conte, I'm not saying he's going to leave, Kante is, but say if he got injured, they've got someone that can fill in that role there. I'm trying to think. Arsenal, that's interesting talk about them signing another goalkeeper possibly. There was a gossip about.
I don't think they'll do that
true
unless they're selling either Ospina or Czech. But yeah,
Lino's an interesting move there. We'll see how he turns out because he's been decent at Leverkusen. People haven't rated him that highly, but I thought he's done okay. It'll be interesting to see how he does there. I'm just trying to think of other transfers off the top of my head.
It's all right if you can't think about.
Marvez will be a good signing for City because of how well he's done at Leicester. I think.
But when's he going to play? That's it.
That's the only problem.
That's almost like a vanity transfer. Just like it's like if you were playing Football Manager back in the day, and it's just a case of right, I'm going to buy all the best players, and I'm just gonna some of them are going to get unhappy in my squad, and I'll deal with it at the time, and just going to take everyone's best players. Just to jump in, I'd say one of the signings I'm looking forward to is Lucas Torreira at Arsenal. I think that could be brilliant for them because how many seasons has it been at Arsenal have needed this defensive midfielder? And
since Vieira, really.
And even that, it's like, do you class him as a proper defensive midi? Really, he's more all action, box to box. But he's one that stands out for me as a key signing. And sadly, I think your Copites have done really well in the transfer window. It pains me to say that. I think you overpaid the Alisson. I had a lot of other options. If you were getting 67, was it? Nearly 70 million.
6.8 technically speaking. But around it.
Yeah, we'll say 70 million just to be kind. I think
he is the most expensive goalkeeper ever now, transfer ever now.
Yeah.
So what were we expecting from him then at Liverpool?
Hat-trick a game.
Hat-trick again.
Yeah, that's it.
You got to beat Mo Salah's first goal scoring record with that kind of money. You double the amount, basically. So come on, productivity.
Yeah. The thing I'm dreading is if he makes a mistake, there'll be headlines like Alisson in Blunderland and all that lot. And you're just like,
Alisson in Blunderland, right?
You sound like you work for a tabloid, mate.
I come up with these headlines, but don't get the jobs in the papers.
Because you don't have anything else to go with it. It's like back page and pictures. It's a picture book. It's a picture newspaper.
Just hire me for the headline.
Yeah, maybe there's some subliminal messaging there that the Liverpool fan, his first headline that he's come up with is one where something's gone wrong for Alisson and Liverpool. Positive vibe, surely you could have that. I think Fabinho's been a good signing for you as well. Be interested to see how Fred does at Man United, I guess. Where I don't know, there's a lot of hustle. Yeah, it's Fred the Red. Yeah, interesting to see because it's a lot of hustle bustle in the Premier League in midfield. So
certainly different from the Ukrainian league.
Exactly, that's it. It's
of course he used to play for Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah,
in case you didn't know.
Yeah, so It'll be interesting to see how he gets on, I think, because it's one thing to stroll through the Ukrainian league, but other players have done it before and they've come to the Premier League and been brilliant. Others have come and been awful, so that could go either way on that.
Is there any other transfers that you particularly had your eye on, Andrew?
Well,
I think Richarlison could be confirmed for Everton today.
Yeah, I think he's on the
from
medical. I
Watford,
think I saw this
something like
morning.
Big increase.
Undoubtedly on his day, he's
And what do you think?
Great talent.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say the 50 million I've heard. Well, at first it was 50 million I heard. Then today on Sky Sports it was kind of 50. Well, lower fee, but it potentially rising to 50. Either way, it's a lot of money for somebody who can be brilliant one day and not the next. But Marco Silva wants him. He's worked with him. He knows him better than any of us. So I guess if you're an Evertonian, you've got to go with what he thinks. I'm really looking to see what he can do with Davy Klaassen this season. I said last year I was made up that he signed for Everton last year.
When Davy Klaassen signed for Everton, I thought this was going to be the start of something great for him. Playing in the Eredivisie for so long at Ajax, of course, had that not so good game against United in the Europa League final.
Yeah, it's fine United. It's a cup final, big Europa Cup final.
But I honestly thought he would beat Rooney out for the position in attacking midfield and go on for, be a kind of like a 10-10 kind of guy in terms of goals and assists. But he's not really stepped up to the mark there, has he?
No. Well,
and you got people like Lookman coming through now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a bit more of a winger.
Doesn't he?
Sorry?
He wants out though.
Yeah, he's been.
Well,
unhappy
apparently
for a little
Marco
while.
Silva wants to keep him and play him into the squad. So it plays into the really positional.
And Ken Morales is back now.
Big
Super
Ken.
Kev. Yeah.
I was once told that he was the essentially the poor man's Ronaldo, but I think he's a bit.
I thought it was
bit
Nani.
lower
Isn't
than
that Nani?
So.
I thought Nani was a poor man's Ronaldo.
No, because
and
you know.
charisma. One transfer just.
Shimao.
Shimao, I forgot. That's something I've heard for a while. One transfer I'd like to touch on briefly was the situation with Bas Dost. Is everybody familiar with Bas Dost?
Well,
Lisbon.
is he still at Lisbon then,
Yeah. Well, he
or did he buy out his contract?
they kind of agreed to terminate it because he's re-signed this week for Sporting Lisbon after when they lost to Atletico Madrid in the Europa League. A lot of their fans weren't happy and went to the training ground and actually just like attacked them, beat them, slapped them all around. So because of that, the club didn't really have a leg to stand on. So I think it was 9 players that all cancelled their contracts there and then because
we've got a few of them at Forest.
Oh yeah, they gone to you. They
we got a few of them
big
because
Portuguese
of our
connection.
our renewed relationship. Well, renewed. I don't say. I think I want to say. Brand spanking new, and I didn't see this coming out of anywhere with relationship with the super agent Jorge Mendes. So
don't knock it.
Well, I saw what happened to Wolves last season, and so I'm really excited about it. So,
Wolves who today is seemingly getting João Moutinho for 5 million from Monaco. 5 million.
And we've got
Patricio.
they've also got Patricio.
Yeah.
As well, who
Patricio from Sporting Lisbon.
Sporting
Neves.
Lisbon, that one who cancelled his contract, but I think
Yeah.
there's some big legal battle about to start.
I saw something about that. Yeah.
Won't be surprised. What do you think of the transfer window so far, Jamie? What chances have you particularly liked?
Bobby Reid to Cardiff.
Yeah.
What a player! The man who scores goals for fun. I mean, Bristol City fans won't be happy, but
No.
because he's just crossed one. Of their
Certainly going to be
rivals.
a big loss for them because he was in the teens last season, wasn't he, in the
He
championship?
was.
I think it was his second highest goal scorer. Was it your first highest? No.
Wasn't Big Mitt.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's certainly going to be a good signing for them in the Premier League. But it's going to be an interesting one to do whether or not whether Wolves, Cardiff, and Fulham are going to be able to adapt themselves to the Premier League. But especially in terms of Fulham signing Sarri, who was linked to Barcelona last summer.
And is it the other French defender?
Oh, I can't remember. He's from Nice as well, though, isn't he?
Le Marchand, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I think we should do a wager
Yeah,
to see how
Lamarchand.
long Neil Warnock lasts at Cardiff.
I hate him. He's
because
such a ball
He does
bag.
really well in the Championship.
What are we
Every
doing?
time he gets
Are we
to the
doing?
Premiership,
Are
he
we
always
doing
touched
over
down.
and under in terms of how many months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Between
So
August and
who wants to take October?
I think he's going to last, to be honest.
You think it's going to last? Okay, so you
Okay,
got you got
Brighton, Huddersfield
you got the full season then.
I think November.
You're going to take November.
maybe December.
Okay, that you can't have 2 months. You
I'm
can
going to
only
go
have one or the
December in
other.
that case. December.
December.
I'll have to go November then because I was going to go December.
Yeah.
He's not
Okay,
gonna have me do
I'm going to stick with February because I think it's going to start off well, but then slowly flutter out. Not going to make any transfers in the January transfer window, and that'll be the end of his
So
story.
are we all writing off Cardiff already before balls kicked that they're getting relegated?
Pretty
And
much.
to speak for Jamie, who's not here. Mexico.
Deary me.
think
Mexico to win the Premier League.
that would be something. That would be something. For me myself, I like Lewis Grabban at Forest. Excellent signing. Over the course of Sunderland and Villa last season, scored 20 goals in the Championship. If you can replicate something like that for Forest next season, it's going to be good times. It's going to be good times. But I'm keeping my expectations realistic for the moment and saying, playoffs. Let's get the playoff position sorted down first.
That's the equivalent of when people say before World Cup that I'd be happy if England get to the quarterfinals. That's like the standard. Playoffs.
And what happened? I said quarterfinals and they get to the semi-finals.
So that means Forest are going up.
Automatic promotion. It's not winning the league. Automatic.
I'm pretty sure Birmingham fans were saying the same last season.
Oh God, yeah.
But Birmingham fans, they sell their players like right at the last second in the transfer window, like Jolter, and that's it. That's the end of them. So, and they sack down managers without too much of time given to him. I remember what's his name? Was it Gary Monk?
Gary Rowett.
Gary Rowan as well.
Gary Rowett, because Gary Monk went to Middlesbrough, wasn't it, last season?
Yeah.
And then he got the boot from. Was he still there? I don't know.
No, I'm pretty soon he got to.
I was like, but the championship as like eclipsed, as encapsulated by Fulham last season is like all it takes is one really good run, and you can just flip it all around. So always an interesting league to watch.
I'm trying to think where he is now.
Gary Rowett.
Gary Rowett's at Stoke. Gary Monk, hasn't he gone to Birmingham?
I'm not sure now. I've not kept up with
I'm
Gary.
pretty certain Gary Monk is at Birmingham. That's what I was saying.
Because
he played Steve Cotterill, didn't he?
Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah, I should know these things. I'm a Birmingham.
This is your ballpark.
But I don't go to Birmingham games that often. Many go to Villa and West Brom.
I'd like Villa to go up.
I think you're.
I think
they will. Chasing a lost stream there. I think that'll be.
John Terry's no longer there, so that's one less reason to not
Derby,
like him.
isn't he?
He's such a
he's too busy contemplating retirement and slamming people that suggest it on Instagram.
But those rumours of Thierry Henry to Aston Villa died down after like a day. That was this week that came out that he was going to replace
that's going to be way too much money.
Yeah,
that was absolutely ridiculous. He came up with that. Before we get,
I don't know, but could he command that much money though? Is it his first job?
Not at Villa,
really. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they should bring him in as a strikers coach. That'd be a good idea. Or assistant manager.
They don't really need.
Tim Sherwood's looking for a job, right?
Yeah. I mean, Joe looks like his prodigy sometimes with that gilet that he wears sometimes.
Left it at home today.
Quickly, before we move on to a music break, I'll just quickly go through what the top 6 have done this window, and we'll get your thoughts on what teams still need work to do. So Arsenal brought in Liechtensteiner, Leno, Socrates.
Yes.
Is easier to read. Torreira and...
Pronounce it all.
Sorry?
Pronounce it all. Go for it.
All right. Matteo Guendouzi. No,
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
and of course, Mertesacker and Cazorla and Jack Wilshere, the notable names that have left the football club. Moving on to Chelsea, the only signing that they got so far is that Jorginho one. So potentially Sarri will have to bring in more players at that point to try and improve the situation there. Notable names that have left, just scrolling down the list, probably Kennedy, the biggest name on that list, that's gone to Newcastle. And Mason Mount, of course, been quite a lot talked about over the radio the past couple of days, gone on loan to Derby.
I think Lewis Baker at Leeds would be interesting for a season. See how he does there.
Yes.
After doing well for Vitesse last season.
Yes.
We at Shrewsbury, we've just got Colquitt on loan.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, you missed him off the list, didn't you? The big one. The big one.
The big guy.
Yeah.
The big man. Moving on from that. Everton, we already talked about Richarlison. Potentially we confirmed later today, depending on when you're listening to this. Of course, Wayne Rooney, probably the biggest name on that list that left to go to DC United. His Premier League career is pretty much over and done at that point. There.
Career's pretty much over and done with.
Oh, that's a bit.
That weekend he was poor.
He sells shirts.
Oh dear me.
Top shot we do that.
Liverpool, we already talked about Alisson, Shaqiri, Keita, and Fabinho.
Isaac Christie Davis.
Notable names that are left include Emre Can, who's gone to Juventus. John Flanagan, as long as he's not causing himself any trouble, has been released
Flanagan
as well.
To Rangers at one point, did that ever happen?
He has gone to Rangers. He has gone to Rangers, but it's just not been updated on here. And, of course, Danny Ward, we've already mentioned about him at the start of the show, going to Leicester City. Speaking of Leicester City, they sold Riyad Mahrez to Manchester City, the only signing of the window so far, but, Premier League champions potentially maybe need to get a few more players before now at the end of the season. Notable names that have left include Yaya Toure, end of his contract, potentially linking up to West Ham, maybe at some point, with Pellegrini once more. Could we see that happen?
Didn't he say you'd pay play for £1 a week or something if
Yeah.
he joined a club.
That was his agent, though.
Yeah.
His agent says all the
Could
things
you
all the time.
imagine?
I've
Like,
got,
his-
I've got a quiz.
Recruiters listening.
Yeah. There we go, Sammy.
We should get an LTS team together. And
I mean, you got 1.25 million, so you can bring him
Yeah,
to
we-
Wrexham.
we
You know,
can- we
I'm
can-
sure he loved playing at the race course. you know.
I'd take him all day.
Yeah. Okay,
That big-
moving on
big
to
bus turning in the middle.
moving on to Manchester United. Get Diego Dalot, who's not even going to play until September because he's injured. Fred Ward mentioned from Shakhtar, and Lee Grant bringing in to push up those homegrown players for Europe. Signing from Stoke, never going to get a game.
Signing.
Notable leavings include Carrick, who's retired. Sam Johnston, who's had a good season at Aston Villa, has gone to West Brom now, so across town for him.
Oh,
and
Sexy Daily. Sexy
Daley
Blind.
Blind's gone to Ajax
Love
for,
Daily Blind.
was it 10 million or something like that?
No, it's
They,
Crazy
14.
amount.
they
We're
butchered
missing
that
out.
song though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ajax.
Yeah. We're missing Man United's biggest player there, Dean Henderson, off to Sheffield United.
Chef you.
Yeah. Hell of a goalkeeper. He'll be replacing Pickford in a couple of years.
Okay.
And if you tell him that on Twitter, he will like it
Yeah,
instantly.
he did actually.
Did he like it? Did he?
That's
Did he tweet him?
me
Did
and
you?
Joe found out.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he said to me, he sent me a message saying, "Oh, Dean Henderson will be in the England squad." I went, "Okay, I'll take your word for
Straight
it."
away got
Literally
a
5
like.
minutes later. I was
So
like,
no, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. He will be playing in the top flight.
I'll take your word for it then.
So you're on top.
And Tottenham, they haven't really signed anyone. They haven't really seen anyone depart yet either. So we'll see about that. We'll come back after the music break and discuss quickly what teams need to improve before now and the end of the transfer window. But until then, enjoyed Radio Gaga.